for this show. Now, let me go to your question. The issue of house rent in Nigeria or in Lagos State in particular, and as regard to the incessant increase in prices of house rent is something that is really, really worrisome.
Very, very.
Now, this is because, just like you have mentioned, the earning power of the common Nigerian is not commensurate to
rent.
The rent requirement in terms of cost. Now, one of the reasons why rent keeps going up is because also, if you look at the economic landscape, prices of things keep going up. Even though some of these price increases is artificial. For instance, let us streamline it to the issue of building materials. Today, the cost of building materials is going up, and it has also been projected that even between now, in fact, between now and the next 1 to 2 weeks, it's still going to go up.
What basis?
As of today, the costs or the price of material, one bag of, the price of cement per bag is not less than 8,500 naira, even from the factory, and that is even Lafarge cement. If you are talking about Dangote, you'll be talking about say 9,000. Reinforcement per tonnage is between 1 million and 1.2 million naira. So, and the moment those who already have existing buildings have this news, they see it that the value of their property keeps going up, and then they want to also get more from their property. Now, the other thing is that the buying power of every Nigerian keeps dropping.
Exactly.
Because the cost of goods in the market also keeps rising. So, for instance, if last year as a landlord I charge 1 million naira for a 3-bedroom apartment, I know what 1 million naira can do for me last year, and I know what it can do this year. So I want to look at it and say, okay, if as at last year I can achieve this with 1 million naira, and this year is no longer possible, how much do I need to, to what extent do I need to increase my rent for me to get value, to meet up my requirement in terms of what I'm using, what I'm getting from the rent for. So these are factors. And then the fact that in Nigeria we don't also embrace the use of local building materials.
Yes.
Most of what we use are imported. Even the ones that are not imported are being controlled by not Nigerians, expatriates. Our reinforcement steel industry is being controlled by expatriates. The granite industry, the stone, aggregate and all of that. So these are issues, and these are reasons why costs will continually go up until the government decides to, try to see what we can do with local productivity and price control.
Most of these buildings and houses that we have in Nigeria were built by our fathers for the sake of, okay, let me tie my money somewhere, and probably at retirement I will be getting little change to feed myself. And you see, and I think there is what do you call it? There is a time frame to get the cost of putting a building down, but the case is different now. That someone, probably because you are a developer or you've done building of housing, you've turned it to a business, so that even when you invest, let's say 100% of money into it, by the first year of rent, you are ready to recuperate, like, let's say 30 to 40%. Whereas this house will still have value for over 50 to 100 years, so to say. So you still have enough years to get enough money. So why the rush to put so much money on the rent to get that money now? Since the essence, the buildings is something that will continue to appreciate, you can always get that money. Why can't you spread that profit you are looking for over a long period of time for people to be able to afford?
Okay, so with regards that, you see, the return on investment on real estate business is not the way we look at it, right? So when you want to invest in the real estate, first of all, it is important that people reinvest in real estate, you know, whether we like it or not, because of course in Nigeria we have a lot of housing deficit. So, and people need to live in a home. People, a common Nigerians deserve a home, and the government cannot, you know, take care of everybody. As it were now. So again, when you want to invest in real estate, the fund you are using is coming from somewhere, and then there's what we call cost of fund. Somebody, if you approach the bank will not give you money for free. And then if you look at the lending rates, it's so high. It's not, it's over the region of 20-25%. So if you approach any commercial bank now to get funding, that's probably what you are going to get, or even higher. So as a result, and as a good businessman, you want to quickly recoup your investment. Now, because, like I said earlier, the cost of building materials keeps going up. For instance, today, I remember back in sometimes 2006, 7, 8, you can still construct a 3-bedroom, a nice 3-bedroom bungalow with about 6 million. But today, is running close to about 20 million naira. Wow. Because of the increase
without the land, or with the
without the land. So you can imagine. So as a result of that, if, take for instance, let's say I borrow 20 million,
okay,
to construct a 3-bedroom apartment today. Don't forget, I own the land.
Yes.
And then there is an interest of 25% on 20 million naira. Yeah. So that's an additional 20 million. 20% will be 2 million.
2 million, yeah.
No, 4 million. 10% of 20 million gives you 2 million. So that's 4 million. Let's say even keep it at, so that's 24 million. If you keep it at 20%, you know. So, and what is the rent requirements? I mean, the cost of rent. Let's say an average of 1 million, 1.5. If you spread that over, you are not going to get less than about 15 years.
So should we now go on to get loan to build houses that people will have to pray through the nose? Because I wonder the one by they build these houses with, you know, savings. They save and they build for themselves, and that's why they build proper house. Most of these houses we are talking about are like something we can refer to as poultry house. No matter the POP, the aesthetics in it, but there are houses that you can't even stretch your full body or legs inside the house. They are very small, more or less like a cubicle. That you are, if you have your family is increasing to like maybe let's say 4, 5, some even 2-bedroom no longer take you, and these are houses that you are even paying a more for. So is there not even no standard to space? Fine, you want to collect you want to collect enough money. Is there no even standard to, you know, the leg room are supposed to be in a, so at least people will even get value for.
Okay, two issues now. The first one is that because the government cannot provide what is required in terms of the number of housing, people has to go into private, you know, and then like we talk about earning power, our savings can no longer build us a home as it were now. Okay. Unlike in those days. So it means that we need to, if government cannot provide, we need to borrow to construct for people. And there are, of course, there are standards, but because some developers also want to maximize profits, they tend to manage certain things so that they can also break even and then be able to recoup their investments. Now, the other thing is that the government has a lot of role to play in all of this. Now, if the cost of rent or the cost of construction of houses has to go down, there must be deliberate government policies to address that. Mm-hmm. You know, local production of, you know, some of these materials must be highly encouraged.
Exactly.
So that you can bring down the cost of construction materials, right? And then also we need to, another issue we have now is the issue of our artisans. A lot of Nigerians don't want to learn, you know, all these crafts any longer. So we need to find a way to encourage that. Although I think the Lagos State government is doing a bit to some things to
quick one. what's like as a quantity surveyor, a professional in that field, are we not looking at alternative building materials? Like, what stops us from our most of the standing buildings that we can trace back to the early 70s
70s,
and 80s are
80s.
built with wood and clay, and they are still standing today. Can we is there any alternative to housing than the high price celebrated cement or beams and iron? And most of those houses don't even come with iron pillars and beam, and some of them have been standing for 100 years. A lot in Ibadan, some in Lagos and co. Is there anything like going to alternative construction?
Yes, we may not be able to go back to that time where we use those things
But they can be cheaper.
raw as it is. But then we can, encourage local production with those materials and then give it some form of enhancement to be able to match up with the current trends. Like for instance, the same mud that is being used for all those houses, then clay
It's still very much everywhere.
it's still very much everywhere and can be converted to blocks,
Exactly.
and then in recent time there are some news flying that bamboo can be used as reinforcement. I'm not a structural engineer. I don't know how that works, but I think there is need for more research in terms of how we can harness the use of local materials for building production. And then that is one of those things our universities can do for us, or should be doing for us, and at the research institutes that we have as well. So I believe that if some of the government policies that are supposed to be in place are in place, costs it can be reduced if some of those government policies are actually in place. And then I would like to also mention that even sometimes some of these increase that we have is as a result, is because we don't have price control in place. The moment somebody just wakes up and look at and realize that dollar is going to go up, and then even before anything, somebody has announced price increase, and immediately somebody announced, it goes round every other corner, and before you know it, we are in the price has been increased and everybody is crying. So we need to really do more in terms of ensuring that we encourage our own local products. So that is very, very important.
So we still need to talk more about factors too. One of the major factors now are the housing agents. We don't even know where to put the housing agents and the legal practitioners who are lawyers. My house, a lawyer, I'm a lawyer. We don't even know who is taking what agreements and what commissions are for. See, I've seen houses that they rent, the agreement and commission is way higher than the actual annual rent.
Yes.
And I asked that, who is even collecting, where is damages agreement and commission? For what purpose? Who is taking what? And you get a new house, you really want to fix it yourself.
Okay, so the profession that the law empowers to manage tenancy and issues that surrounds it, they are the estate surveyors and valuers, right? So they are the one who is supposed to be representing the landlords or the clients, managing their properties, fixing rent of houses and all cost of rent and all of that. But you will see that there have been proliferations. Even there are a lot of quacks in that industry. That is those ones you refer to as
house agents.
Those ones are just more or less like middlemen.
Exactly.
And then once they collect their own commission, they leave.
They determine the rents for the landlord.
Yes, they determine exactly. So, and those are some of the things that need to be checked, right? They need to fight quackery in that profession. And I think the real estate, estate surveyors and valuers are trying, their best with that regards. But again, when there is no policy that forbids anything, it's difficult to get rid of it. So there is need for more advocacy from their end to see what they can do. And then the issue of of commission and all of that. You even see situations whereby landlords collect damages. At the end of the day, nobody talks about it.
At all.
You know, it's gone. Agreement and commission. The agreement is that is being received is to take care of the preparation of the document that is going to be signed by parties. But what you see today is that even in event that nobody is producing any agreement, they still collect that fee. Most of the houses that is being let out today, nobody signs any agreement.
At all. You did not even see a lawyer.
You won't even see. So, but this is about lack of standard practice and the promotion of
lastly, from as a quantity surveyor, just one word from professional point of view. Looking at the current cost of our building materials and building, our current cost of getting fund, and current cost of saving up to own a house, using a mainland in Lagos State as a case study.
Okay.
Is it any house worth what's the value, the rental value for a room and parlor, a room self, a 2-bedroom apartment, and a 3-bedroom apartment? Annual value, what should be in speculations?
Okay, it's neither here nor there. The thing that would determine that is enormous. Number one is the quality of the house itself, the level of finishes and facilities that are available in the property, you know. And then
I'm sure you are not talking about POP. Because that's the major marketing strategy for them now. They are POP one bed. Landlord, did I ask to put POP? Why should I pay more because you put POP in your house?
Of course, you have to pay more because a house that is well and proper finished,
okay,
we have a better ambience.
But POP is an option for finish. The regular slate is an option for finish. You chose to use the POP.
Well, it's my house, and I determine the kind of finishes that is there, and I want to charge you accordingly. It's an open market. You can decide to opt for other, houses that are not finished with POP or other kind of, materials that you want to mention, right? But then, if not that the deficit, there is deficit, people will have options.
Exactly.
There will be, and of course, there are developers that does that. Some developers build in a way that you can choose the options that you want. Even some of them allows you, talking about sales now, some of them allows you to finish on your own. They sell carcass to you, and then, but looking at our environment generally and what is obtainable, the costs required to build, the cost of fund, and some of the value we are getting as of today cannot be really be condemned until you now put pen on paper to really look at the parameters, particularly the houses that are being built with the current cost of material. So I may not really be able to tell you that this is a particular rate,
for rent.
that is appropriate.
Everybody just give rent according to what it takes you to build the house.
But then there's normally there are supposed to be standards if we have regulations, and that is where the government is supposed to.
That is why my heart and my cry goes out more for civil servants whom their monthly remuneration is just so obvious and so fixed. And it's a pity, like even a lot of, let's say, from teachers commission and co, how you can ask how they are coping as regard house rent. And you see a civil servant that is working in Lagos, living inside the creek in Ogun State, and for them to even come out to work every day. And even for Lagos State government, I have a lot of proposal for Lagos State government. They have a lot of land they are wasting that they can easily just partner with different institutions to build housing for the government cannot do it all, but the land you are wasting, identify those land. People can help you to even identify them. Give it out, let people build. Let your, let the civil servant, let them have somewhere to put their head. And even, when you talk about all those and look at people that are, everybody have right to, good homes and to start a family.
Yeah. So the civil servants have options. It's just that sometimes people don't have information, right? As a civil servant, you have the right to approach the government to seek for the
some will have applied
loan,
and in another 5 years of your work in service, 10 years, you still not get.
Sometimes people don't get the right information and don't understand how to go about things, and then that is why they will get stuck in the middle of the road. So you need to understand the comprehensive requirements of whatever you want to do. Those schemes are available. Although I agree with you that the Nigerian factor can deny some other persons, right? But the question is, do people even have that information? And how many people are even trying to exploit?
Probably the information is not even out.
So how many people are trying to exploit? Even for those who do not want to do whatever that is interest-based. I think about 2 years ago, the government also announced an interest-free window at the Federal Mortgage Bank, whereby you can approach them, and then whether you have a property you want to buy, as long as it's not the price or the cost is not beyond a particular amount, but you need to have some documents, and then it goes with its own requirements, right? So overall, there is a lot to do in the housing sector, so that we can bridge the existing gaps, and then also try to see how housing can be more affordable for both people in the private and the public sector as well. You mentioned the civil servant. Even some people, what about the teacher? Some people who teach in the private schools, primary school, secondary school, private schools for that matter, that
graduate
about 40,000 exactly. So it's even worse for those categories of people.
Rent a house in Lagos.
Of course, and their jobs is not even secured
at all
compared to those people in the government. So there are
they've been to school, they got a certificate. They could not get any better job than just teaching in those private schools and earning a little amount of money. And even a lot of people that put on ties and go to Lekki every day, see their salary, probably their gross.
Some people don't earn,
and they fly to Milan Bridge every day. And how are these people coping with rent and family?
Who live as far as Owebafo to Ikoyi, and they don't earn up to 200,000 every month.